I don't know if I should be saying this on the internet, but as someone who lives in DC, people in DC do not really care that Trump deployed the National Guard. Most people are quiet or like, or are literally like, thank God.
Basically come to some common sense about this whole DC thing, you know. Across the nation, they need to do the exact same thing that they're doing.
Just today, a young lady was shot over on 15th Street in Northeast DC. Does that seem like crime gone down? With all the things that are going on with our president, you know, sending the National Guards out, I don't have a problem with that personally.
Anybody that's watching this right now that live in DC don't have a problem with what Trump is doing. Nobody want to walk around DC with homeless people everywhere, carjackings everywhere, smell like weed. It's ghetto. It's the capital, for crying out loud. Let me tell you something most people don't realize. Your personal information is being sold online right now. Your phone number, your address, your email, it's all out there, and you probably don't even know it. As someone in the public eye, I've had to deal with this stuff the hard way. You need your information secured, especially in today's world. Now listen, VPNs. Some of you guys know a lot about VPNs, but VPNs are great for protecting your data and the public Wi-Fi, but it does nothing to remove what's already leaked. That's where Incogni comes in. Incogni sends legal data removal requests to data brokers on your behalf. And now with their custom removals feature under the unlimited plan, you can submit specific URLs, even sites outside of their usual list, and their privacy experts will work to wipe your information off the internet. It's fast, it's easy, and you can track everything with the personal dashboard. Now, let me show you guys the dashboard real quick. Look at these stats. These are incredible. Now, I have to say that this is not my data because I don't want you guys to have an unrealistic expectation. Clearly, I have hundreds of thousands of things that need to be removed from line, but the average person, above average guy, which is Nick, this is his information here, and look at it, 400 hours it would have taken him to try to do all of this himself. And then you can look at some of the data removal points here and look at how more and more they're finding and removing data to make sure that his stuff isn't compromised online. 600 total sent, 66 in progress, and 534 that have been completed. Absolutely amazing. Take your data back today. Use code Tatum and get 60% off an annual plan. All you gotta do is go to incogni.com/Tatum. That's incogni.com/Tatum. I don't understand for the life of me why Democrats are so hell-bent on making everything Donald Trump does, which in my opinion is acting in good faith, they make everything he does a problem. And instead of them congratulating or supporting facts and truth and things that make this country better, they rather hate on him and look like complete nut jobs. What are you talking about, Brandon? I'm talking about this DC takeover thing. I want you to listen to Scott Jennings. And I'm going to play a clip of Scott Jennings. I'm going to play a clip of the naysaying media. And then I'm going to show you what the residents of DC is saying. I can put it on my life that anybody that's watching this right now that live in DC don't have a problem with what Trump is doing. Nobody want to walk around DC with homeless people everywhere, carjackings everywhere, smell like weed. It's ghetto. It's the capital, for crying out loud. You should be able to go and step in front of and look at the White House and the monuments and everything be cool without thugs and young people robbing people. Why do they push back on things that are benefiting America? This is how they continue to lose elections. Scott Jennings, tell us what you got.
Well, what about that idea? What about the idea that this is, even if one supports this effort, it's a Band-Aid, right? It's not like hiring 500 additional cops in D.C.
And I think they do have a staffing shortage in the D.C. Police Department. They need to fix that. I don't know what's authoritarian about putting some extra eyes and ears on the street, getting criminals off the street to keep people from being murdered and carjacked. Nobody in their right mind believes Washington, D.C. is safe. And to say the president's trying to help us keep people from getting murdered and carjacked and we have to stop this authoritarian push, I mean, it's just sort of ridiculous rhetoric. These Democrats don't know what to do with themselves. Every time Donald Trump tries to do something, they reflexively feel the need to oppose it without thinking through the political implications for themselves.
You think Democrats are taking the bait?
Well, I think they're acting like idiots here. The city is crime-ridden. I saw a guy get murdered in Union Station in February at 4 in the afternoon. I saw the body hit the floor at the bottom of the escalator on the second floor. And so everybody who visits there, everybody who lives there knows it's a serious problem. You have extra eyes and ears. They've arrested criminals. They're getting illegal guns off the street. People feel safer. Tourists feel safer. What is the problem?
Margaret?
Now, let's talk about this real quick. People that live in D.C. already know what it is. You can't find a genuine person in D.C. that say, Donald Trump is wrong for stopping crime. Donald Trump is wrong for getting these knuckleheads out the street. Donald Trump is wrong because I won't get carjacked today because the carjackers are going to jail. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying Donald Trump is wrong because the streets are safer. No human being in the right mind believes that. Let me give you a couple statistical data points. Juvenile arrests are down 20% in 2025, but still high violence. 200 violent charges and 50 carjackings. Like there's 50 victims of carjacking. Carjacking is when somebody steals your vehicle by force. This is not you in the house, you come out your car gone, oh, what happened to my car? No, it's like somebody uses force against you to take your vehicle. That is traumatic. And although some numbers have been trending down, why would there be carjackings in the capital city or the district where the president has the authority to take over the police or the National Guard and, I would say deploy the law the way it is supposed to be? The numbers and the short staff that they have is not applicable if the president can do something about it. And that's what he's doing. Why wouldn't you want to live in D.C. where there's zero crime? Why couldn't it be like Dubai? Where in Dubai, there's not a lot of crime. Why? Because you're going to get towed up from the flow up. And then it says the youth now commit 21% of the shootings and homicides. I think this is the problem that people are seeing is like, but the youth, the next generation of young people are crazy and violent. It's getting out of control. All right, let's get to Al Sharpton because I don't want to bore you with too many statistical data points. Let's get to Al Sharpton and listen to what the mayor has to say, why do we got to be the ones that's stupid? Now, it's a bunch of stupid white ones too, but why we got the mayor of D.C. Why can't you have common sense? Why can't we put a sister in there that's smart? A sister in there that's genuine? A sister in there that have common sense? Why we gotta have somebody here like this? They make us all look stupid. Roll the clip.
Than white residents and those with higher incomes. As they were last year, black women are among the most concerned, with 65% saying crime is a very or extremely serious issue, compared with 82% who said the same last year. Rev, I just bring this up just to say there are a lot of, I'll just say it, white progressives who you've talked about and I've talked about, who sometimes think they're trying to help certain segments of the society, and they have no idea where they are. Well, right now in Washington, D.C., black women especially are deeply concerned about crime in their city. And I think it would behoove the Democratic Party to figure out how to build a partnership with the president, with the mayor, to make Washington a more secure city for the 91% of Washington residents who are saying today that crime is a serious problem.
Well, it goes to the situation and problem that I've said to you and I discussed before, that people are talking for people they're not talking to. There is a concern among many blacks, if not most, and many residents in Washington, D.C. about crime. We have an office of National Action Network there, so I'm familiar with it. I go in and out. I talk to the people that work for NAN there, led by a woman, a black woman. But the question becomes how Trump is handling it.
Hold on. He was doing good. I ain't gonna spend too much time. He was doing good, right? I think the Morning Joe and them, they were doing good. They said the right things. I felt like Al Sharpton, he decided to at least admit that black residents are saying the things that they quoted a minute ago, that most of them are concerned about crime. Many of them black women raising the ones that committing the crimes. But people are genuinely concerned. Why can't you just let the main thing be the main thing, Rev? Now he got to say this. Roll the clip.
I think the problem is not that there's an argument about we need to deal with crime. Even though the data says it's going down, the perception and the reality is there. The question is, Donald Trump, the only convicted felon to ever sit in the White House, by the way, pardoned criminals who assaulted police, who threatened the life of the vice president, and did not reach out and try to meet with the mayor and local law enforcement and say, how do we work together to end crime? He just came in, said, I'm taking over, and then announced I'm going to other cities, all of whom have black mayors, Los Angeles, Oakland, Chicago, New York. I'm going after all these cities, not one Republican city, not one white mayor. So for people to suspect him and his motives and the way he does it is the problem. I think what leadership there should do is what Mayor Bowser said. They're willing to sit down with the administration, and anyone else should, and say, let's deal with the problem. But don't become the problem, and don't tell us on one hand you can sit January 6th and watch people beat up cops while you're sitting in the White House doing nothing, and then come back 5 years later and say I'm taking over the city.
And Rev, as you have spoken,
all right, come on, let's debunk the myth, the mythology. We know that Nancy Pelosi, who had the authority at the time to deploy, decided not to. They refused to. How do we know this? It's because the day after January 6th, they deployed military personnel who was sleeping in parking garages and had stayed there overnight. They put up barricades and everything after the fact. So if the FBI and government officials had intel that Trump supporters were going to do this, and that's not everybody, half of the people just walking in and out of the thing, just being stupid. But if they knew, why didn't they set the national security, the National Guard up and set the fences up and stuff protecting the Capitol building the day that it happened? We know, people, because they wanted it to happen. They wanted Trump to look bad. They instigated some of it. Some of the instigators didn't go to jail. And they act like every cop was getting beat up by these people. It was a few conflicts that had happened, and those people deserved to go to jail. Many of them went to jail. But at some point, time served, okay? They in there for 4 years, 5 years. Some of them didn't even do nothing. They just walked in the building and walked out. So don't give me that bull shenanigan about, well, Donald Trump is doing the right thing, but we don't like the way he did it. Well, cry me a river, bro. It's like it's like if somebody made me $10 million in my company and I'm complaining about I don't like the way they did it, even though the way they did it was legal. Who cares, bro? You made me $10 million. Let's talk on that point. Thank you for helping me make some money. I don't care if I don't like the way you did it. You helped me make some money. I don't care how you made the streets safe. Did you do it legally or you did it? Okay, the streets are safe. Let's keep it that way. Now let's listen to some black residents and let's listen to what the black residents have to say. Because a lot of times they try to make it seem like all black people think like Al Sharpton and the mayor, and they're all confused and they don't know why Trump did it. And I think Al Sharpton made a good point when saying they're talking for people and not to people. Because when you talk to people, this is what you hear. Let's roll the clip. Let's talk to a couple people. Let's see what the black residents talking about. Roll the clip.
What's up, y'all? Check this out. We all, listen, to all my homies, man, everybody in DC, man, listen. I don't know if y'all been paying attention, but check this out. Man, they got the National Guards, they got DEA, the FBI, Park Police, Capitol Police, DC Police, all working together. Trump got these on a mission. So what I'm saying to y'all is now ain't the time in my city, in DC. I don't know about nobody else. He ain't do that nowhere else. But it's a state of emergency in my city. So all I'm saying to you is now ain't the time to be riding around with guns and drinking and smoking weed. You know what I'm saying? Now ain't the time, bro. This ain't these next 30 days is gonna show a lot of for and that's because it's like this because the youngest keep tipping, bro. We can't go nowhere without them. We can't go nowhere without them doing it up. 9 or 10 of them, they robbing, shooting, and you know what I'm saying? Like my get tired of that. Man. They get tired of that. Man. There's no points in it for that, man. Now this is where we come to a state of emergency. You hear me? DC is under emergency. The Metropolitan Police Department has lost its custody for 30 days. Now Trump about to get in here and start roughing off. Man, they already started. They done came through the yo 2 or 3 times already. They done pushed up on my man yesterday, wasn't doing nothing. Pushed up on him. They is not playing out here, man. So if you want to get a football number now, keep doing that dumb Keep doing the shit that y'all doing, bro. Y'all making it, come on, bro. We gotta do better, man. And I'm not just saying it's for the YNs, bro. It's for my age, too. Listen, if you got certain motions, man, now is the curtail that shit a little bit, man, because if they catch you, they you over. It ain't nothing nobody else can do about it. I'm just being real, man. Y'all, man, stay up. Pay attention, man. Going on right now.
I like a little bit what he said. He's still stupid. If you go do drugs, just kind of slow down. Now stop doing crime. Stop doing drugs. Stop being a fool. That's it. That's it, bruh. You want to live? You want to be free? Stop being a fool. Let's listen to the rest of them. Roll it.
I don't know if I should be saying this on the internet, but as someone who lives in DC, people in DC do not really care that Trump deployed the National Guard. Most people are quiet or like, or are literally like, thank God. The only people I've seen outraged are people from other states. People in DC, quiet. I worked in a local election a few months ago. Mind you, this is a place that voted 90% for Kamala. And by far, the biggest issue for people was crime. People didn't care about anything else. People were going ham. I went to so many forums where people were like, what are you gonna do about these kids? Lock them up and throw away the key. My personal favorite was, if they want to play with guns so much, send them to Afghanistan. A lot of you probably are sitting there thinking a few different things. Number one, you're probably thinking is, oh, this is what the problem with gentrifiers is, like white people move to a city and complain about crime. No, the district I was working on was a primarily Black district, like 80%. And no, I cannot speak for all of DC, but the group I am noticing this with is not a monolith. And when I noticed this, I even helped some local politicians I know to make sure I wasn't tripping. I was like, wait, is it just me or does no one care? They're like, our constituents are happy. Mind you, like I was born and raised here. Like somebody was unalived on my front lawn when I was a child, and now the house is worth $1.4 million. And these are people who are just like that. Like these are residents who are tired. And don't mistake this video as me saying I'm for what he's doing. Again, everyone in my circle is extremely liberal. So a big thing I did on that political campaign was crime stats, and they were staggering, they were frightening. And I know MSNBC was fact-checking Trump, and they said that crime was down 30%. That is a little deceitful. Violent crime is down 30%, and they're only counting homicide as violent crime, and I've never seen anyone do that. Like, that is deceitful. And this is not me saying like, oh, they are justified, but it's more so like the numbers are deceitful. Like, I'm not scared of getting shot. I'm scared of them taking away my jacket. Like, I have a Canada Goose from literally 2014, and my friend's like, nobody wants to steal your 2014 Canada Goose. I'm like, they will. But yeah, no. FBI data, which they're using, is broken down into violent crime and property crime. And they're like assault, battery, homicides, robberies, and one more, or like, I don't even know if robberies are violent crime. They are only including homicides. Nobody here is scared of getting shot. And the thing is, even if homicides are down, the fear of being like assaulted, robbed, carjacked is still in your mind daily when you go into DC. It doesn't matter. Like, I know in the election, a big thing people were saying, like in the local election, like, it doesn't matter if crime is down if people don't feel safe. And people don't feel safe in DC right now. And it's funny because the only people I actually have heard that they say that they feel safe is like white people who live in Navy Yard, which is like not a place you should feel safe. Fun fact, I had a friend get robbed twice in Navy Yard, on a Friday and then a Sunday. And when they robbed him on Sunday, they couldn't even take anything because he didn't have a phone or wallet yet. Another really interesting thing I've seen in like my sphere is that it's the Black people talking about crime, not white people. And I think white people kind of understand like, oh, like if we talk about this, like we're in a gentrified space, like, but it is the Black people talking about this, which is interesting because I think a lot of people from across the country wouldn't expect that. And when I mean talking about this, it's talking about how crime is out of control. The bottom line is people in DC do not feel safe. And anyone who tells you otherwise just isn't paying attention. Like any resident who's like, I feel safe, you shouldn't. And yes, even though crime is down, like this is another thing, like I've done a ton of data analysis, used to be a data analyst, went to MIT, like I'm good at math. Even if there's a drop in crime, if the crime was like out of control to begin with, like a drop doesn't really matter. Like you have to take it in context. Truly only my friends from other states who have been like outraged about it. People from DC have been silent, or they're just like, Or people are like, thank God. Again, this is not me justifying how it's being done, but I'm saying that people from DC like don't actually mind what's happening. And that's why they're not being that loud about it, because they're tired. I know a couple years ago, a lot of my friends started saying like, you know, I don't even drive into DC anymore. Like I don't want to because they're going to bust my windows, which is like very possible. Like every time I come back to my car, I'm like, phew. Now people are like, I don't want to drive to DC because I'm going to get carjacked. And then we realized they're carjacking the Ubers too. And if this actually blows up, I don't want to hear anyone being like, awful take. It's not a take. This is not me saying I agree with it. This is me saying what is happening. And you could be like, oh, well, my friends care. Okay, good. People should care.
Now, I was trying to fact check what she was saying about violent crimes and different things like that. And this is what I was saying yesterday about the disingenuous nature of how these crimes are reported. Now, allegedly, carjackings are considered a violent crime. But carjackings, like for instance, people say crime is down. I was looking at these statistical data points, and every statistical data point that I'm seeing, whether it's genuine or disingenuous, is pretty much saying that crime is down. It says overall crime is down 7%. Now, do you think the average person is feeling a 7% drop in crime? No, a person is not feeling a 7% drop in crime. You don't feel the difference in crime if it's 7%. 7% is not a lot. And then you go down here, it says violent crimes specifically is down 26%. Now, this is where the problem happens, because violent crime is a lot of variables included in that, right? It says homicide is down 11%. That can be one shooting less this year than last year. Well, or 2-3 shootings less this year than last year that involve multiple people who were killed, makes the crime rate go down a percentage. But the fact that 300 people, or how many other people that die every year, is insane, especially in a small city, especially because most people that are affected are people of color. The sex abuse is down 50%. Now, sex abuse is another one of those crime statistics that has a lot of variables to it. Because if people are getting abused but not reporting the abuse, that does not mean abuse isn't happening. That just means people are not reporting the abuse. So therefore, criminals are still committing the crime. They just don't statistically cover it. So I'm not saying that that's the case, but I'm saying you got to look at these things, and you look at the residents who are lamenting that crime is out of control, and you look at stats and you go, well, why doesn't the stats match what the public is saying? And that could be because the stats are not consistently representing what it should. Assault with a dangerous weapon is down 20%. Robbery is down 29%. Burglars are down 19%. Motor vehicle theft relatively flat, only slight changes. Other thefts down to 6%. And like I said, people aren't feeling that. Because violent crimes are down don't mean that other crimes are down. And because the crime was way up here and it comes down here, it don't mean that it's acceptable. Like, you're in DC, you're in the Capitol. Why? Like, for instance, think about it like this. I live in Scottsdale. Where I live at, crime is, I don't know how much crime happening here. Murders, I don't know, maybe every 5 years somebody get murdered or something. I don't know. I don't see police officers nowhere. They around, but they not here. Why? Because it's safe. I can walk around at night without my gun, even though I won't, but I could. I could leave my door open. I leave my keys in my car. I do whatever I want to do. Our community is safe. Why can't residents in DC afford the same safety and security as I would in my community? Is it a rich or poor thing, right? If you don't have a lot of money, you got to live in poverty and be unsafe and getting robbed every day and having shootouts on your street. And if you got money, you have the privilege of not being around the mess. I don't think that's fair, because we all pay into the system of taxes that helps with public safety. So to be honest, we all should be afforded safety, at least relatively equal. But they want to be mad because they don't like the way he's doing it. Well, look, it's crazy to me that we would even argue this point. Let's go to some other residents that are saying the same thing. The crime is out of control here. Roll the clip.
Hear from city leaders and others that crime is actually down. Are you seeing that?
No, I'm not seeing it. We're seeing carjackings, the violence in the communities. So we were advocating then for the National Guard to come out, but they said there was no need. But think about how many lives could have been saved just having them on the scene.
And Asia says still to this day, she's not heard from one detective about those crimes committed against her family. Now, for Tempe Satcher, another D.C. resident, her son B.J. was gunned down in a random drive-by shooting on the way to work 2 years ago, and she does not feel that crime has calmed down.
Just today, a young lady was shot over on 15th Street in Northeast D.C. Does that seem like crime gone down? With all the things that are going on with our president, sending the National Guards out, I don't have a problem with that personally, because if MPD can't do it and they need help, then I'm glad they're able to get the help.
Come on, y'all. We got another one. All right, let's go to the last gentleman. We played him on the other show, but I think what he said was pretty interesting. Wrote a clip.
Man, down the city is quiet as a church mouse, young. I came all the way down Pennsylvania Avenue this morning. So peaceful, young. I don't smell no weed, young. I don't see no homeless people. I mean, I came all the way through the southeast side, all the way down here. You can see now I'm at the White House jump, man. It's quiet, young. It's a shame that it takes somebody to have to sit in your classroom in order for you to be in order, young. Because that's what it feels like, young. You got to be babysitted to do your job, young. Stuff been out of control for years. You got to do better, young. You got to do better, young. And mainly, young, you got the problems. It's us, man. It's always us giving everybody a bad name, young. We'll see how long this lasts, young. How many murders was it last night? How many carjackings was it last night? Talk to me. And y'all keep on posting all these data numbers and things of that nature that y'all see everybody else reposting. The stuff that came from the Metropolitan Police Department and the mayor, young. Let me tell you something, young. Let me tell you something. You can't be that stupid. You can't be, man. Who enters that information to get that data analysis, young? People do. You can enter whatever numbers you want to make whatever report show what, but you can't hide the crime, young. You can't do it. Let me give you something to break it down to you for those that don't understand. I retired from UPS, right? So what they used to do to play with the numbers or whatever, we have mission packages. You'll have drivers over the hours. They'd go in and enter the information and the report would show whatever they needed to show to keep their bonus that week for their bosses not to fire their ass. So stop believing that stuff. And I don't know if you ever had to deal with the DC government, young, but they suck, young. They have got a lot more better now that the officers have did what they had to do and got all of these people out of the government and got rid of the riffraff and things of that nature. People actually do work now. Let me give you this for example, right? You got carry and conceals or whatever that were being issued by the DC separate department that was handling the gun licensing and things of that nature. They went from turnaround time for like 4 months, 5 months for you to have to get a gun registered in DC and get a carry and conceal to 2 weeks. It used to take you 3 months just to get an appointment to talk to somebody and take your information and your gun down there. Now, you go online right now and they got appointments available tomorrow. How does that happen? What changed? You put some fire under their now they want to do some work.
All right, I looked up some stuff that I think is pretty interesting, at least for us to consider. Like I said, right now I don't have any evidence. And to be honest, the city leaders aren't articulating what they did to make the crime go down, right? I mean, I don't see them saying there's a police shortage. I don't see them saying we added more law enforcement officers. We did this, and this is why the crime is going down. They're just saying crime is down year over year. It's like, well, what did you do to make the crime go down? Because if you can articulate something that you've done, this could be an anomaly or you could be fluffing the numbers. Let me give you something to think about. Redefining crime categories, right? And I said this before. It says if a carjacking is reclassified as a theft from auto or an unauthorized use of a vehicle instead of a violent crime, that could change the statistical data points. If an assault might be recorded as a simple assault, which is a lesser offense rather than an aggravated assault, if no weapon is proven, lowering the serious crime tally. Also, there could be a change with counted. They would change what's counted. Some police departments switch reporting systems from the old FBI Unified Crime Code to the new National Incident-Based Reporting System. These systems count crime differently, which can cause sudden drops or rises in stats, even if the real-world crime level hasn't changed. Reporting compliance issues. It says police sometimes disregard reporting. For example, telling victims of crimes that it doesn't meet a certain threshold or suggesting that they settle disputes privately. If residents stop reporting because police won't help them, then crime appears to go down. Like I have seen it happen in Tucson. Somebody would get things stolen out of their car and they're like, the cops are never going to show up. It's 6 hours before I ever get it. Somebody breaking this person's house. Cops are going to show up for 10 hours. Like, might as well just take my losses because the cops ain't gonna do nothing anyway. When people feel that way because of the response times, they quit calling. If women get assaulted by certain men and they like, man, the cops ain't gonna do that anyway. Like, I have no evidence. I woke up knowing that something happened to me, but I was drunk and I don't know, so I'm not gonna report it. That does not mean that crime is going down. Here's another thing, political pressure. Obviously, we all know that city leaders have incentives to show progress. And so why wouldn't they manipulate the tally system? Why wouldn't the city manager, city leader, city council, or even the mayor convince or encourage the police chief to do something to make them look good? Why? So they can show that they're doing work and they can get more funding, and all of these other things could be a possibility. And then it says the DC context. In DC, there has been past allegations reclassifying certain gun-related assaults as private or property crimes if no injuries occur. We have done this on a police department before, where they say, well, if this didn't happen, technically we're not going to classify it as this because this didn't happen, and so it's really not that. I can see them doing it all the time. Why wouldn't they do it? Why would they waste a crime statistic if a person didn't injure anybody, but he had a gun in his possession, and he pointed at somebody? Well, if nobody got hurt, the victim don't want to prosecute, then technically they won't tally it as an aggravated assault, which is what it is. So I just want to throw that out there to give you something to think about. Because I don't always trust, especially if they don't have an articulable measure of why the crime rate is going down. I think that should be it for that topic. Let's get on to the next topic.